everyone. I hope you're doing well today. My name's Pam, for those of you who don't know me. So just a quick reminder for props, if you could have some blocks or a couple of books or something handy. If you don't have a yoga strap, you could have a Dynaband or a tie. It'd be a good idea to have a blanket or two, by a pillow if you don't have a Zafu meditation cushion, and or a bolster, or just handy in case you'd like it. So we will get started by having a seat with me or by lying back to begin your practice. It's entirely up to you. Sometimes it's nice to lay down just to kind of really let your body relax. So if you're lying back, you're lying flat on your mat with your palms face up, knees resting together, feet apart, or the legs can go wide on the mat, as I said, or you can sit with me. So taking a moment to choose a comfortable position and get really cozy for a little while so that you can really begin to set your intention for your practice. And so just taking a few moments here to release into the mat, to let go, and to begin to ease into your practice. Taking a couple of breaths in through the nose and maybe even sighing out through the mouth. With each breath in, an invitation to expand the body. And with each breath out, an invitation to relax and ease the body. Taking your time here to just connect with your body and your breath. And if it helps you, take a moment to visually in your mind's eye, open a little box. Take anything that is on your mind right now, any plans for the day, any future thinking or past worries or present worries, and just stick them in that box and close it up. And mentally walk it outside the room that you're in. Put it outside and close the door, just in your mind's eye, so that you can stay present and focused on your practice. As you begin to invite and cultivate a sense of acceptance and kindness towards yourself through this practice. Taking a few more moments. Maybe you're still placing things in that imaginary box. Maybe you've rushed to your mat. You're still trying to reconnect with your body and your breath. Try to be accepting of where you are right now in this moment, no matter where it is. Allowing your breath to come and go, filling your belly with each breath in, allowing it to fall back with each breath out. As you sink a little deeper into your mat, into the supporting arms of the earth. And as we watch our breath come and go, and the belly rises and falls, just watching it come and go, rising and falling. As we set our intention for today's practice, I'd like to read a little passage from a favorite book of mine. Ahimsa or non-harming is the first practice. Without ahimsa, all practice can be harmful. As you step on your yoga mat, lovingly accept yourself as you are, and then let your practice emerge from here. Acceptance can never come from harm to the self. So ahimsa, or non-harming, is their first practice. So as you go through your practice today, I would like you to focus on this. Where can you find acceptance for the self, for where you are? And offer yourself kindness rather than harm or injury as you proceed through each pose. Maybe that's even just self-talk. Using kind words as you approach your practice. Maybe it's being kind to your body and holding a little longer to make those muscles work a little longer, or maybe it's backing off in a pose or taking it a bit easier. Take your time here for a few more moments to feel your breath in your belly come and go. Watching the belly rise with each breath in and fall with each breath out. And if you're seated with me, eventually we're going to come back down our back and join everyone. But wherever you're at in the moment, just wiggling your fingers and toes, inviting a deeper breath and slow movement into the body. And eventually circle the wrists and the ankles a couple of times in each direction before you start to move in any other way. And as I said, if you're seated, just coming onto your back, having your belt handy. From here, we're going to exhale our knees to our chest, holding underneath the knees or on top of the shins and rocking from side to side, head, neck, shoulders, everything comes with you. And then from there, we're going to pause in the center. Exhale, your right knee stays into your chest, your left leg lengthens long along the mat. Breathing here. And just over the break, if you want to do a really nice pose for your low back, this can be really comfortable and soothing. So as you breathe in, your belly gets a little bit bigger. Maybe your knee comes a little bit farther away. As you breathe out, your belly gets smaller and your knee comes a little bit closer to you. The left leg is standing up as if it were standing on the wall in front of you. And always, if there is discomfort in the back, you can always shorten the length of your limbs to make this pose easier. Once you've had a couple of breaths here, eventually exhale your left knee back in towards your chest, both knees into the chest, have a squeeze. And then exhale, lengthen your right leg along the mat. Again, that leg as if it's standing up. Try to notice if you've started bringing any tension into your shoulders and try to let them release down along the mat. Again, as you breathe in, this leg comes a little bit away from you, a little bit closer. If it's really difficult to hold on top of the shin or under the knee, you can always use your belt in place of your hands. And this is soothing for the low back as it helps to stretch out the hamstrings a little bit and the hip flexors. And whether we sit a lot or we stand and run or walk a lot, our legs can be really tight no matter which is our usual. And that can contribute to a tight low back. Where can you offer yourself some kindness in these poses? As you exhale both knees into your chest, and again, having a gentle rock from side to side, head, neck, shoulders, everything comes with you. As you exhale, your right foot comes down to the mat and then your left. And we're going to start to windshield wiper our legs back and forth, letting the legs just slowly rock side to side. And from here, we're going to place our arms in a T position, so rolling your shoulder blades even more down your back, lengthening your arms, and you can even take a peek at your arms and make sure they're right in line with your shoulders. Eventually, on a breath out, your knees, when they rock to the right the next time, are going to fall all the way over to the right. And here's your breath in your belly, offering yourself some release, acceptance, and kindness as you rest in each pose. On your next breath out, slowly bring the knees back, windshield wiper back and forth a few more times. And then in your time, when your knees come to the left the next time, let them fall all the way over to the left. Maybe you take your neck into this pose today. Maybe you just keep it at the ceiling, just to let the body open a little more gradually. So there's your breath. In your time, exhaling, bringing the knees back to center, windshield wiper a couple more times. And then from here, your yogi's choice. And by the way, I was going to have today be yogi's choice. So if there's any poses that you want to do once we start coming back up from the ground, please type in the chat and I will try to include them, or if there's any area of the body you'd like to work on. From here, we're going to exhale both knees to the chest if it's okay for your low back, and start to circle into the hips. If you're feeling like the low back is a bit tired or just doesn't feel stable enough for you, just work with one leg at a time, circling into the right hip, drawing circles on the ceiling with the knee, and then eventually switching to the other side. So just listen to your body, offering yourself some kindness. And this doesn't have to be a huge circle. If you're really rocking and rolling the hips, make that circle a bit smaller. Want to get the synovial fluid moving in the hips. From there, we'll place both feet back on the mat, no matter where you're at. Just make sure you work evenly with both sides. And then from here, we're going to exhale our arms to the ceiling, hands on the elbows, and just a couple of circles here. Just working in each direction. We really want to get that fluid moving in the joints, so we lubricate them before we move, and we ask our body to do some more work. So this is one way we can offer ourselves kindness when we're practicing, is to warm up the body gradually before we ask it to do harder work. Work in both directions evenly and eventually let that go. Shake that out. From here, we're going to exhale and allow our feet to come together and our knees to fall away. And this can be a really nice restorative pose. So you can even do this in bed with pillows under the knees. And let's open up our shoulders as well and our back as we do this. Come out with the legs anytime you need. Again, listen to your body. With the arms, we're going to exhale our arms to the ceiling, let the arms rest on the shoulders. And we're going to give ourselves a hug with our left arm on top. And again, offering yourself some acceptance and kindness, perhaps you stay here. If you feel like your shoulders are a little bit more open and you want to try eagle arms, I'm going to offer myself some kindness and not come any further than this. I'm just letting the arms come towards each other. Otherwise, maybe on the other side, I'll have some more mobility to eventually bring my hands to my elbow, or my elbow. That's a funny looking elbow. My hands to my forehead. Otherwise, just staying in a hug with the left arm on top, trying to invite some ease into the shoulders and the hips. Releasing in the legs anytime you need. You can always come out and come back in again. So there's your breath. In your time, opening up the arms and giving yourself a hug the other way. Maybe you have more mobility on this side and your palms can come towards your forehead. Maybe not. Maybe your way to accept yourself today as you are is by only going where the body says it feels okay today, rather than pushing and causing harm. So there's your breath. Opening up on an exhalation, letting that go. Help your legs close with the hands. Exhale your right knee and then your left to your chest, and then just shake it out. Let everything go. Shake, shake, shake. From here, we're going to take our belt around the foot on the right side. I'm going to hold the belt with both hands to start and just come to a regular leg stretch. So my leg is right in line with my hip. And then from here, I'm going to let the leg tip a little bit towards me and then out to the side, only coming as far as it's comfortable. Letting that shoulder roll down the back. I'm holding my belt with my right arm to hold up my right leg. On an exhalation, bend that knee, come right back to the center. Leg is right in line with your hip socket. If your hamstrings are really tight, you may have your knee really, really bent. Listen to your body. Where's that kindness and acceptance you can offer yourself? From here, exhale, let the leg tip a little bit towards you and then towards the other side. If you feel like you want to go a little bit further, lengthen the down leg along the mat. Lengthen the right arm out to the other side. Breathing here, and if it feels okay for you, and maybe bending that knee a little bit more if you need, coming all the way over into a little bit more of an exaggerated twist. Breathing here, doing that nice stretch. Letting that go, shoulder blades roll down your back. Again, if you're offering yourself kindness, maybe you've come all the way into this pose, maybe you've come even further than I have and your leg is on the mat. Or maybe you've backed off or you've bent your knees. Eventually bend your knee into your chest. Lengthen that leg straight up one more time. Release the belt and allow that leg to slowly float all the way down. And maybe you notice that you feel a little bit longer on one side than the other. So let's fix that. And we'll open up on the other side as well. So taking the belt, and again, if you don't have a belt, maybe you're using a tie or a strap, or maybe even holding onto your pants. From here, nice straight leg towards the ceiling. If that doesn't work for you, the knee is bent, but the knee and the hip are in line. Breathing there. In your time, taking the belt into your left hand, letting the leg tip a little bit towards you and then out to the side. So shoulder blade roll down the back, breathing here, feeling that nice stretch. In your time, if you need, bending that knee to bring it in, to lengthen towards the ceiling, both hands on the belt this time. If it feels good for you, switching to the right hand, tipping that leg a little bit towards you, and then coming all the way across the body the other way. Maybe your way to offer yourself kindness is to stay here. If it feels like it's going to be a beautiful place for you, you can lengthen your down leg, breathing there. And if it feels really good, you can start to stretch all the way over to the other side. Again, maybe offering yourself kindness and acceptance here is coming all the way to the floor if that works for you. My foot does not come to the floor in this position. It's a little bit too tight for that. So I'm going to offer myself some acceptance as to where I am right now in this moment. Offer myself some kindness that I'm not going any further because my body says no. You can help yourself if it feels okay for your shoulder to lengthen the left arm towards the wall beside you as you work in the other direction with your leg. Breathing, eventually bending your knee, coming back to center, holding the belt with both hands, releasing the belt and lengthening that leg all the way to the mat. And maybe you feel like you're equally stretched this time. From here, we're going to exhale our knees to our chest, have a little bit of a rock, and you may or may not need your belt for this. I'd like to come to happy baby. So we'll come to one side at a time if that works better for you. You can always use your belt instead of your hands. So I'm going to hold on to the outside of my foot, and I'm going to bend my knee in towards my chest here. But I'm kind of bringing it a little bit to the outside of the chest. And if that feels good, that's where you stay. Maybe try one side, have a couple of breaths, release, try the other side and see how it feels. Have a couple of breaths there. In your time, you can release. And then if it feels okay, holding on to both feet, head is on the mat, shoulder rolled down your back, coming into happy baby. Full happy baby, if it works for you. Listen to the body. Quiet the mind if it's chattering about how far you're going or where it thinks you should be. You are where you are right now, and that's fine. That's good and fantastic. Maybe you rock a little side to side. Maybe you just enjoy this pose in stillness. If it's comfortable, you can grab onto the inside edges of the feet. Otherwise, eventually release and let go, bringing your right foot down and then your left. Might be nice to bring the knees right and then left up to the chest again and have one more rock. And move or stretch in any other way that you need to, taking the next few breaths to do so. Before you roll to your right side for a breath or two, use your arm as a pillow and then eventually come up to sitting. Take your time to do so. If you need to, take a sip of water. Anytime you need. Once you've had a comfortable seat for a moment and you feel ready to do so, come to all fours. So again, if you have a blanket, you may wish to place that under your knees. If that feels good for you. As I usually say, I have a double mat, so I'm okay here without something under my knees. It's a comfortable place for me. So from here, coming into all fours, and maybe just start with some movement here. So I'm just wagging my tail back and forth. I'm letting the rest of my spine follow me along. And then from here, I'm actually going to tip my hips to the left. And I'm going to start as if I was sitting into child's pose. But I'm just going to leave the hips on the left and the arms are straight ahead as if I was going to start into child's pose. And then I'm going to slowly come back up with an exhalation. I'm going to wag my hips a little bit more, wag my tail. And then when I feel ready, I'm going to wag to the right, and I'm going to start to sit to the right. But my hands are going to stay in the center. Just a little bit of an extra stretch for the hips, just a little bit more opening here. Let your neck be long and relaxed, even though you're in an engaged position. Still, there's your breath. In your time, come back to center. We're wagging our tail, and we can actually, if it feels okay for your neck and back, you can keep wagging your tail as you come into head down cat with a breath out. And then as you breathe in, keep wagging your tail and your body as you come into head up cat. See how that feels a couple of times. If that doesn't really work for you, you can do it statically. So letting the movement start in your hips, just come into cat, head up and head down if that feels better. But if it works for you, try to be a little bit silly about it. Really offering the body some movement, wagging the tail as you come into cat and cow. Inviting a little bit more opening into the glutes and the outsides of the thighs. When you're ready, we're going to take our knees really, really wide. We're going to bring our toes together and we're going to start to sink back into child's pose. But I'm going to pause here and really open up in my chest, sending my heart forward. My head is let go and long in my spine. My tummy is in. And I'm just feeling this really nice open stretch in the hips before I eventually let the arms slide forward and the forehead will eventually touch down on the mat. If it doesn't, I'm going to bring a prop underneath my forehead to bring the mat to me. Keep the arms up for a breath or two. Inviting that opening in the chest, and then eventually you can let them ease. The elbows can bend. Or if you really don't have any props or anything, you can always stack your fists or hands to bring the mat to your forehead. So sometimes we can use our body as a prop. From here, I'd like you to invite a little bit of movement if it works for you. Just a little bit of rocking forward and back. The head rocks forward, the tail goes back, back and forth, just a couple of times. And then sink back again towards the heels. And think about the crown of the head reaching towards the opposite wall. In your time, slowly come up. And we'll give the legs a little shake. From here, I'd like to come to dolphin. So I want to place my elbow down and my hand comes to the center. I place my other elbow down, my hand comes to the center, I'm in prayer position, okay? My elbows are right underneath my shoulders. Everything else is the exact same as dog. So I brought my knees in from child's pose, my knees are straight under my hips, my toes are curled, and from here, I'm gonna have my neck nice and long, my shoulder blades roll down my back, I'm gonna exhale my belly back, and I'm gonna come up. Just like I would in downward dog, except now I'm in dolphin pose. So my crown of my head is just touching the floor. I'm not putting any weight in my head. Okay? So listen to the body, see how that feels. Maybe come out, let it go, and then try again. See how it feels. If you want to add a little heat to your practice, you can do dolphin push-ups. Why don't we do 5 of them together if you feel up for it? Again, listen to your body Exhale your belly back to come up. How do I do a dolphin push-up? Well, I'm going to bring my chin towards my thumbs. I'm going to exhale and squeeze my belly even more as I bring my chin or my nose towards my thumbs. That's 3, 2, 1. If you want to do 5 more, go for it. If you're done with that, come back into child's pose, knees wide, toes together, forehead on the mat, arms rest down. Slowly walking yourself back up. Take a sip of water if you need. And from here, we're going to come to downward dog, one-legged dog, and then a body yawn dog. So if you're not sure what that is, take a quick peek. So from table pose, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, roll your shoulder blades down your back. Exhale your belly back, float up. Bend your knees as much as you need, open your shoulders, let your head go. Three-legged dog, all I'm doing is bending my right leg and putting all the weight into my hands and my left foot. And then I can lengthen that leg if I'm not too close to my wall. That's our three-legged dog. You may have done this with me before. From here, I'm going to bend and open that leg out and gaze under my right armpit. And that's my body yawn dog. And I can keep the leg bent or straight. And then eventually I'll come to the other side. So try that out. Well, we can do it together. Rest in child's pose in between if you need. So starting in table, shoulder blades roll down your back, curl your toes. Exhale your belly back. Elbows are soft and looking forward. Head is let go. Shoulders are open. You're inviting your heels to the mat, but you're not insisting. In your time, you're going to exhale and bend your knee. Lengthen your leg straight back. Bend it again and open up to the side. I'm gazing under the armpits of the leg that's up in the air. So if you've already done your right side, perhaps you're on your left now. I can either stay with that knee bent or I can lengthen that leg again. To come out, I'm going to do so slowly. I'm going to bend the leg, look the hips towards the floor, slowly replace that foot down, and find myself in downward dog again. On an exhalation, I'm going to slowly come down to the mat and rest in child's pose. For 3 nice long deep breaths. If you haven't done the other side, take your time. From dog, curling the toes, coming up, using your belly, bend the leg first, then lengthen, then bend and lengthen again, or keep it bent. And it's a little bit of a twist for the body, gazing under the armpit of the leg that's in the air. Breathing there. Once you've finished with that, having those nice deep breaths in child's pose, and then coming to standing, however it's most comfortable for you to do so. Taking your time in whatever position you're in. When you come to standing, eventually find yourself in Tadasana. We will meet in Tadasana here. So spreading the toes, gently and slowly placing the feet on the mat. And if you come to standing and you can get to the computer now, if you have any poses that you'd like to do, please type in the chat or any area of the body you'd like to focus on. Once you're coming to Tadasana, you're going to rock back and forth, toes to heels to find that center point and then side to side, eventually finding the center point of your feet to root down through the earth and reach up through the center point of the top of your head towards the sky. So again, the body's moving in two directions. Close your eyes if you're comfortable and reconnect with your breath in Tadasana or mountain pose. Feeling your belly expand into the room as you breathe in. Feeling your belly fall back towards your spine, towards the wall behind you as you breathe out. Allowing your shoulders to ease down towards the mat, down the back. Pausing here. In your time, eventually open your eyes. Move or shake or let that go in any way that you need. It might be nice to actually come back to Tadasana when you're ready and do a couple of stretches for the hands. We asked them to do quite a bit of work already. So just stretching out the wrists. Notice if you've locked your knees when you're standing, try to let them be a little bit soft. And then from here, we're going to stretch out the neck a little bit. So I'm going to exhale my right ear to my right shoulder and lengthen my left arm along the side of my body, placing my heel towards the heel of my hand towards the earth. If you wish, if you feel like kindness feels like adding some just dead weight of your arm to your head, you can always place the hand on your head without pushing. But maybe this is enough of a stretch for you already. Eventually release the hand, release the neck, exhale your ear to your other shoulder. Lengthen the opposite arm along the side of the body. Either accepting this is where you are, or if kindness feels like adding something to this, perhaps placing your hand, dead weight, on top of the head for a little bit more of a stretch. Slowly release, let that go, shake that out. Have something near you if you might be wobbly. If your mind is busy, you will likely be wobbly. Having a wall or something beside you, remember that whatever leg is holding you up is the leg that's beside your prop, okay? So you're gonna find Tadasana again. We're gonna start to put the weight on our left foot. Maybe place your hands on your hips if you're not using your prop. Pick a spot to stare at that doesn't move. Exhale your right knee towards your chest. And then place your opposite, place your, just above your ankle on your left thigh, just above your knee. From here, we're gonna sit. If you need to, use that prop beside you. We're gonna sit, and we're gonna do so by sticking out our bum. So I can totally see my whole foot. I'm not bending my knee over my foot. I'm actually sticking my bum back. Okay, so make sure you're sticking out your bum behind you as you breathe here. Perhaps you come into Namaste or hands in prayer position if this feels okay for you. So there's your breath. Maybe you sit a little bit more. Lengthen in your neck. Spine is long, tummy is working, leg is working. Maybe you sit a little bit deeper. Listen to your body. If you can, come out slowly with grace. So standing up a little bit, standing up a little bit more, standing up tall, bringing your knee to your chest, and then placing your foot down and shaking that out. Change the side that your prop is on, or turn yourself around so that your prop that you're using is on the other side. Okay, so standing up nice and tall again, finding Tadasana or mountain pose, finding your breath. In your time, exhale your belly back, shifting the weight into your right leg this time, lifting the left, crossing just above your ankle to just above your knee. So the left just above the ankle is coming to the right just above your knee. And this side may be harder or easier. Pick a spot to stare at that doesn't move. If it works for you, come to namaste. Bring the hands in a prayer position. If it doesn't work for you, have your hand on that prop. And if you can, start to sink, start to sit, stick that bum out. Breathing here, feeling that work. Now I'm going to offer myself some kindness. I can feel the muscles and on the other side are really, really tight. So I'm not going to go as far down on this side, even though I'd like to have the same mobility. I might have to give myself a few more breaths before I can actually sit a little bit further. So take your time, listen to the body, and do what is most kind for you. So there's your breath. Maybe you sit a little bit deeper. Maybe not. Maybe the hands are still in namaste. Maybe you're holding on to your prop. In your time, if you can, come out slowly with grace. Again, standing up a little bit at a time, bringing that knee to the chest, and placing that sole of the foot down. Taking that out, letting that go. And before we do some seated work, we're going to take the top of the foot into the hand and stretch out that hip flexor. So if this doesn't work for you, grabbing your belt, putting your belt around your foot, make sure your down leg is bent so you're not locking your knee. So there's your breath here, just giving yourself a nice little stretch to the quads. If you want to take this into more of a dancer pose, you can start to tip, but keep your hips facing the mat. If you're really sturdy on this side, you can lengthen your leg or your arm, your right arm towards the ceiling. Eventually, releasing that foot, shaking that out, coming to the prop on the other side, taking the top of the foot in the hand or using the belt. Down knee stays bent, long in your spine. Pick that spot to stare at that doesn't move. If you can lengthen your arm along the side of your head, please do. If not, hold on to that prop. Perhaps you start to take this into dancer and you start to tip. Maybe you keep your prop. Maybe you lengthen your arm. Listen to your body. Tummy is working. Eventually, slowly release the arm and the leg and let that go. Shake that out. From here, we're going to come into a wide-legged forward bend. We're going to come to Tadasana. Have your blocks handy, so you may want to have your blocks right in front of you to give yourself some support if you need to. So standing in Tadasana or namaste. Standing in Tadasana or mountain pose, you're going to step your right foot out and then your left, as wide as it is comfortable for you. Let your toes be slightly pigeon-toed or turned in a little bit, bending your knees, rotating your thighs out like a book opening. You will notice that that starts to engage your deeper abdominal muscles and the glutes in the back. As you exhale your belly back, squeezing your tummy, shoulder blades roll down your back, tip from your hips to come to forward bend. Maybe your hands are on your props. Maybe they can come to the floor. Breathing here. If it works for you, walking your hands to the right side, holding on and bending in towards that knee. Instead, if needed, grab your block and have your block and hold on to that instead. Exhale to come to center and then walk the hands to the other side. Again, holding on to that leg, or bring that block with you, holding on to the block instead. Bowing in. Tummy stays tight. Eventually walk back to center, perhaps on your blocks. You're going to toe heel it in part way. So bring your heels in, then your toes in, heels in, then your toes in. Bend your knees deeply. Bring your hands to your body, your thighs or your hips. Exhale, engage your belly. Inhale, come all the way up, one vertebrae at a time. Slowly, slowly, let your head be the last to come. Let that go, shake that out. Before we come down to the mat, grab some props. So have your blanket, have your blocks, bring your belt or your Dynaband or whatever it is that you have, just in case you need them. I'm going to sit on my Zafu because I know this pose used to be super easy when I was young. It's not so much anymore. So we're going to come down to the mat. And if you don't have a cushion, you can always sit on the edge of a blanket. The idea, though, is when you're sitting, to have a prop helps you tip your hips forward, okay? So as I sit, I can sit on the edge and my hips can tip forward, okay? And that gives me a little bit more space, and it helps to smooth the back so that I've got a nice flat back going on, okay? So we're going to take our time here. Move our personal cushions away. So I was wagging my tail there again, digging myself into my cushion. I'm going to have my blocks handy because I know I need them. You may want to have, again, cushions, blankets, whatever you have, or books. Either turn a bottle of vinegar on its side. From here, I'm going to take my right ankle. If I need to, I can help myself with my hand. And I'm going to place it along my mat, in line with my mat, and my ankle is going to stay flexed. And if I need a little bit of help with that, I can grab my socks or my belt, and I can kind of stuff it underneath my ankle to give my ankle a little bit more support so that foot stays flexed. I don't want to bow in with the ankle because that can cause injury and too much flexibility in the ankle, which can lead to injury later. So non-harming is what we're aiming for here. So my leg is right in line with my mat. Now I'm going to take my other leg and I'm going to place it on top of this leg. Now here's where my props come in for me. Actually, I don't even know on this side if I can use the props because there's no way I'm coming down. So the idea is to come to fire log pose. And so in fire log pose, my leg is right in line. And then the other leg is right in line. And they're stacked just like fire log. So if I could, I would have my knee down here where my foot is or where my hand is moving here. That's not possible for me right now, and that's not comfortable on my foot. So I'm just gonna maybe not use my props because I'm too tight to do so. So be as comfortable as you can. In order to have my back straight in this position, I am actually putting my fingertips on the floor behind me. And I'm breathing here. And this is a great way. So I probably look like I'm struggling because I am. And this used to be a fantastic pose that I could do. Some people can tip forward. And if you can, by all means, keeping your back nice and long, tip forward, lead with your chest. This is just a really great hip opener. But it's also good for mood elevation as well. And on dark days like we've been having, I know some people sometimes struggle with that. So this is a great way to open the hips, open the legs, practice sitting up nice and tall, and to help elevate the mood as well. So again, how can you offer yourself kindness if this pose is difficult for you? Can you Maybe turn off that judging voice in your head. Can you focus inward on your breath and focus on accepting yourself where you are in this pose right now? And if you've tipped forward, leading with your sternum, slowly start to sit back upright. Eventually unbinding your legs this way, letting them go, shaking them out, and then coming to the other side. So bending the opposite leg underneath. Again, maybe you're propping that ankle to make sure it doesn't buckle. That leg is nice and lined up with the mat. And you're taking the opposite ankle, and I'm going to tip back quite a bit here to come to fire log on the other side. So I'm here, I'm rolling my shoulder blades down my back and leaning back a little bit so I can have a little bit more space, because my blocks aren't really helping me at this point because I'm too tight. Or I'm just as tight as I am right now in this moment, and I'm going to accept that. Perhaps you've been able to sit up nice and tall with your spine lengthening towards the ceiling in this pose. And you can lead with your sternum and start to do a bit of a forward bend. Breathing here for a moment. Being in that space as long as it feels good for you. In your time, slowly sitting back upright, slowly releasing the leg from the top and then the bottom and shaking that out. Bringing your props just to the side. Moving or stretching in any way that feels right for you. So it might be nice to sit up nice and tall in a little bit more of a wide-legged forward bend. Just lead with your sternum, tip from your hips, and just have a gentle forward bend there. And then eventually slowly sitting up. Coming back into Baddha Konasana like we did in the beginning, but this time coming into a twist again. You can have props under your knees if you wish. From here, we're going to exhale our belly back, spiral up our spine, and just come to a gentle twist to the right. An exhalation of our belly back brings us back, and then we breathe out again and twist to the left. In your time, slowly release to the center, shake out the legs. Take the next couple of breaths to find your way back onto your back on your mat, perhaps bringing your blocks underneath your thighs or a bolster or cushion under your thighs, just to give yourself a little bit more support. It might be nice to stretch or move in any way that you need before you lie back though. So for example, maybe coming and bringing your knees to your chest, having another happy baby, or maybe even crossing the legs over the other way and doing a bit of a closed twist. So with your right leg crossed on top of your left, letting your legs fall to the left. Then exhaling, coming back to center, crossing your left leg over your right, and letting your legs tip a little bit to the right. Taking a few more breaths, eventually coming back to center, and find whatever stretch or movement that you need before you lie back in Shavasana or relaxation pose. If you don't have props under your legs, that's okay. Maybe you let your knees bend and rest together, or perhaps you close your practice sitting with me. Choose the position that's most comfortable for you. Taking the next couple of breaths to release, to let go, to come back into your breath. To settle into the ground, into the earth, into its support. Now, as you close your eyes and ease into the mat, in whatever position you're in, feeling the breath start at the tips of your toes and fill your whole body with fresh oxygen, feeling it expand with each breath in, maybe even sighing that exhalation out through your mouth, maybe even making some noise. And breathing out, let everything go. Perhaps even envisioning something that you would like to let go of, something that no longer serves you, that you can visualize releasing from your body as you breathe out each breath. As you breathe here for a few moments, one way that we can offer ourselves some kindness is to recite some words of loving kindness. And so I would invite you to do that with me now. Just repeating in your mind after me. As you breathe in and out and watch your breath come and go in your belly. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. We're reciting that one more time, and if it works for you in your mind's eye, an image of you holding yourself in your heart space and really allowing the chest to flood with beautiful, brilliant light and overflowing love for yourself. As you recite, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. The next few breaths to allow that to resonate with you. As you give yourself permission to rest for a few more moments longer. Resting, breathing, releasing. In your time, eventually begin to invite a deeper breath. Gently invite some movement, like wiggling your fingers and toes into the body. Maybe circling the wrists and ankles, yawning or stretching in any way that you need. If you're lying back, eventually roll to your right side for a breath or two if you'd like to close your practice with me or with us. In your time, placing your palms at your heart center, and we'll take one more breath together. So take the next breath and just let it come and go. We'll slowly begin to inhale together as we sweep our arms up overhead. Exhaling our hands to our heart center in Namaste. The soul or light or divine in me is honoring the soul or light or divine in you. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed your practice today with us. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to type in the chat. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next semester. Stay well, stay safe, and enjoy a beautiful and restful break. Take care. Bye bye.